Yeah. So then I repeat, the test will be the first question. I say comment on and critically analyze the following passages to really evaluate and analyze and discuss what is exactly this quotation is talking about, and of course with reference to the whole source text from this poem. Give me a brief idea about this poem, not summary, just give a very brief idea about the whole thing, and to contextualize the quotation in the if you like, in the source text itself. And that's why, again, I say for each passage, write a paragraph of about 200 words. So you have 3 quotations, means each quotation you have to write a paragraph, and this paragraph should be around 200 words, around 200 words. And don't ask me, I wrote 180, 170, 160. I say around, and I don't count words. But just by the look of it, I know whether this paragraph is enough or not. Because sometimes people write 2 lines or 3 lines. I say a paragraph means a good paragraph. Okay? So, as I said, I will give you quotations from the texts. We have done the 3 texts, Washington, Whitman, and Mark Twain. That's question 1, okay? And again, I will give you like to write an essay. Really, this is the whole idea, to write an essay. And the essay could be about a theme, or about an idea, or about a certain topic in these texts. I could give you something about the poem itself, to talk about the whole idea, for example, in a poem, to elaborate and to give details and so on. It's an essay. I say write a short essay, really short, not much, means less than 500 words, no more than 500 words. Again, I don't count words. And here I give you 8 marks for this. So I will give you a topic. As I said, a topic from either Whitman or from these things we have done, and I'm sure you can answer it. Okay.
How much time we have, Doctor?
2 hours. You have 2 hours only. 2 hours only. 2 hours, and I'll give you 2 hours. I'll give you 15 minutes to submit your papers, to send it to me via email. Send it by email, not to turn it in. Send it to me via the email.
And also, on Thursday we have a holiday, Al-Isra holiday or something.
What?
So we have a holiday next week on Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we want to have the test on Thursday, if it's okay.
No. If it's a holiday, I can't do it.
But we want to take it.
No, because we have instructions. We have instructions by the university not to have tests on holidays or weekends, or in the evenings, or at night.
Okay, what about on Sunday? Because we have already class on Sunday.
You mean Sunday next week?
Yes. If it suits everyone, of course.
Sunday week 7, not next week. It will be 6.
Yeah,
Sunday. Sunday week 7. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's I think the good solution, because if it's are you sure it's going to be a holiday?
Yes.
Well, okay. I don't know. I've not checked. But I think since you are saying this, okay. So then it's going to be Sunday, week 7. Sunday, week 7. Okay, I'll send you.
Doctor,
Yeah.
Mark Twain's novel will be included in the test?
Yes. Only till the place where we are now. For example, where we stop before the test. Concerning the passages, if I am going to ask you a passage, it's going to be only till the place where we have stopped in the novel, where we have reached. Okay?
Doctor,
Yeah.
I think 1,100 words is too much to write in 2 hours. Can you make it 2 quotation?
I agree.
Uh,
And essay?
2 quotations.
Yeah, because the words is very long.
Okay, okay. Abshiri Abdulaziz.
Thank you, Doctor.
Lubna,
Yes.
you were asking me for the first time, and you were very kind and decent and nice, and you wanted less resources, correct?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, I'll give you. So I'll give you this. So maximum 4.
Is this my lucky day?
Well, I don't
Thank
know.
you.
4. No, minimum. Did I say maximum? No, minimum 4.
Well, it sounds good. Thank you,
Yeah.
doctor.
Okay. All right. Is that okay? Now you understand the thing about the test. So we are now settled. The next exam, the first exam, 20 marks, was going to be on Sunday, week 7. Sunday, week 7. Okay? Please, I will send an email to everybody to remind you of that. Maybe, well, I will send you next week, not this week, to make sure that you follow things at a time. Okay, right. So any other thing? Any question?
It's all clear, Doctor. Thanks.
Okay, so let me go back to my friend Mark Twain and see what he's showing us. And I think we stopped. I can't remember. Maybe at the end of chapter 2 or something. I'm not sure. Let me see. Yeah, I think I was commenting last time towards the end of this about the gang that Huckleberry and Tom Sawyer and everybody, they were discussing what kind of robbery and all this. And I think, as I told you, really, it's one of the things that that it looks like being comical, and yet it seems that it's been written for children, maybe, a text like that, to see how young boys talking about that in such a fashion, as if really you would be looking at maybe a children's book, in a sense. In chapter 3, and if I share this with you again, let me share it. Yeah, chapter 3. Again, you can see the narrator going on, Huckleberry, telling us details about what he has, been planning and doing, and so on. and he wants to go back. Of course, usually, remember, he's living with his widow. And here we said, well, I got a quid over going over in the morning from old Miss Watson on account of my clothes. But the widow, she didn't scold, but only cleaned off the grease and clay. Again, notice, the way that he's been treated really in a very nice way by this woman, who, of course, she is taking care of him completely, and he knows it and he admits it. But he's behaving sometimes like, I think, in a childish way, in a boyish, bullish way, really, towards her. The way he speaks about her, when he was saying the widow, she, again, the same thing. And I looked so sorry that I thought I would behave a while if I could. This is what I'm saying just now. The way he knows his, if you like, boyish and bullish manner, and he does not like it. He wants to go out and to be free and to stop all this education business, and which he really does not like. When Miss Watson, she took me in the closet and prayed, but nothing come out of it, or come off it. She told me to pray every day, and whatever I asked for, I would get it. But it wasn't so, or it weren't so. I tried it. Again, here it shows us, if you like, again, I think, again and again and again, it's his own boyish and childish manner to show what kind of boy this is. Of course, he's a boy. Maybe we say, well, he's a boy. He's not really grown up. He doesn't know what really prayers means, and to say the whole idea of prayers and the thing. And the idea is he's saying, as if to say, well, he was never really, if you like, religious or in anything. I sat down one time back in the woods and had a long thing about it. Let me just, I'm writing a little, yeah. Yeah, so the idea here really is, again, reveals a lot about his mentality and his attitude. And that's why, he ran away, of course, from such life. Well, originally, his father kidnapped him, or did not want him to stay in school, because, again, we know his father was a terrible example of a father. I sat down one time back in the woods and had a long think about it. It says to myself, if a body can get anything they pray for, why don't Deacon Wynne get back the money he lost on pork? Why can't the widow get back her silver snuff box that was stolen? Why can't Miss Watson fat up? No, says I to myself. There ain't nothing in it. I went and told the widow about it, and she said the things body could get by praying for was spiritual gifts. Of course, notice here's this childish narrative and childish thinking. And you're saying, well, if prayers will give you, why don't, for example, he's giving here examples. Of course, as I said, really, Mark Twain, to be honest, Mark Twain is mocking everything in this novel. He's ridiculing and mocking all the establishments, including religion, really. And, because that's why here he's giving us, Huck, to be saying such a thing. And again, he said, I went out in the woods and turned it over in my mind a long time, but I couldn't see no advantage about it, except for the other people. So at last, I reckoned I wouldn't worry about it anymore, but I just let it go. Sometimes the widow would take me one side and talk about providence. You know, again, here he goes back and forth about the whole idea of destiny and God and, you know, the supreme power, you know, God, providence, and all this. And he's questioning, really. As I said, remember, I'm saying, really, he's a boy. You know, we understand his boyish questions and his boyish, childish doubts and all this. Of course, quizzing and questioning all these things because he's a boy, you know, he's a young boy. He's not grown up. So we don't blame him much. But of course, there is a hidden message here. There is a hidden message by Mark Twain to say, yeah, well, look how people sometimes think and consider anything to do with religion. Indeed, I said, I judged. I could see that there was two providences, and a poor chap would stand considerable show with the widow's providence. You know, again, here he's saying, I think this is funny. He's ridiculous, really, and he's funny. He's doubting here to say what kind of destiny, what kind of heaven, and what kind of, you know, if you like, God you're talking about. It seems that there are, you know, there are things which, in a way, which are really strange about what's going on. Again, this has nothing to do with real concept of, you know, God here, okay? And as I said, Mark Twain is really nudging us and, you know, if you like, hitting certain points indirectly to talk about the value and how people value and think of religion. Again, here he talks about his father, and again he questions the whole idea in relation to his father, which is I think important here. As you can see, I highlighted this. Pap, he hadn't been seen for more than a year, you know, instead of Pap, you know, Papa or his father, you know. And again he said Pap, he. It's really funny. This is strange. Yeah, always, you know, the repetition of subjects and objects. Sometimes, you know, they repeat the same. Pap, he hadn't. Well, why he? Pap hadn't been seen, etc. That was comfortable for me. So he was happy that his father was away and he didn't see him much because he was always, you know, his father always, you know, giving him hard time in all kinds of ways. So that's why he said, comfortable for me. And I think, you know, again, this is really funny and strange. A young boy of 13 and 12 or 13 saying, I'm happy that I don't see my father. So come on, what kind of family is this? What kind of father is this? What kind of relationship is this? You know, to have a boy at this age saying, I'm not happy, or I'm completely happy not to see my father. I did not want to see him no more. Again, look at this funny English. I did not want to see him no more. You know, again, the negatives. I did not want to see him anymore, not no more. You know? So really, this is funny. So he said, I don't want to see him again. He used to always wail me when he was sober and could get his hands on me. Wail me? This is a funny verb. Really, it's a funny verb. Really amazing verb. I've never seen a verb like this. Wail? What's wail mean? What's wail, Lubna? A wail? Good morning. Hello, where
Is it
are
the
you?
same meaning that we know?
Sorry?
Isn't an animal whale?
Yeah, it's the animal. Yeah, the big massive fish, the massive fish whale. But what does he mean here as a verb? Whale me?
I think he means that the action of hitting something, such as the gambling table or punishing bag, forcefully and repeatedly.
Very good, yeah, Ghaida. Very good. Yeah, very good, Ghaida. Yeah, absolutely. So, so as if, and why do you think this verb is used here? Mark Twain is using this verb. Why?
Maybe just to get in the character of Tom.
I've never heard this before by any other writer. Maybe because our friend Mark Twain spent most of his life at sea and water and river and fishing and maybe whaling, to catch whales and fish. So it's his business. Maybe this verb is used by fishermen, by seamen who catch fish or who go to the sea. So this is a very strange verb to use, maybe used only by fishermen, by people at sea. Yeah, so that's why really here we see Mark Twain is using a special kind of verb which is used only by fishermen, because here it means really to hit hard, to really punish, or like catching something and really as if you are ensnaring someone, like snaring, or like netting someone and catching someone by force and maybe smuggling or maybe strangling and so on, isn't it? So here really Mark Twain is using a very funny verb to say, I was caught by my father like a whale, being caught and killed. It's really funny to say this ridiculous way of treating your son. And he said when he was sober. Sober? As if sober means when he was drunk, and then after being, when the drink, if you like, when you are, if you like, okay, after a hangover, for example, when you have a hangover or when you get really drunk by drink, because his father is a terrible drunkard. So when he was sober means when he has his mind okay, meaning he's not fully drunk. He could be drunk, but not drunk. He would still hit me. So what about if he was drunk? So if he was drunk, maybe he would kill him. Could get his hand on me. Though I used to take to the woods most of the time when he was around. So notice here, the boy used, always he said, I would run away to the woods, run away from my father, otherwise he would hit me and kill me, because he's always drunk. Well, about this time he was found in the river drowned, about 20 miles above town. So people said. So now he thinks at this time, again, this is really funny and ridiculous that Huck is happy to know that his father was killed at sea. He's in a way happy to say that my father was drowned, and people saying that my father was drowned and killed at sea. So that's what the people said, he said. They judged it was him. They believed it was him because they found a body maybe drowned in the river, and they think it could be his father. Anyway, said this drowned man was just his size. He said, maybe it's not him, but the people say maybe that dead body looked like his size. his father's size, and was ragged and had uncommon long hair, which was all like pap. Isn't it this? Do you think this is funny or this is what? I mean, come on, boy. What kind of description here describe your own father? And you are happy to know that he's dead. And the way he describes him in a funny, ugly way, you know, about how he's, maybe he got rid of him. Notice, I weren't comfortable long before because I happened to think of something. I knowed mighty well that that a drowned man don't float on his back, but on his face. Again, notice the knowledge. How do you know? I mean, you know, he's only a young boy. Of course, here we see the narrator and Mark Twain's knowledge as a real big, really experienced sailor to say that drowned men. Again, I knowed, what's this? What kind of English is this? I knowed, you know, I knew, isn't it? I knowed mighty well that a drowned man. What do you think if I give you a passage like this and I will say, correct this into good English? Can you do that?
Yes, it will be much easier than analyzing text.
Yeah, well, I will see. I will see about it. I will see. Maybe I will give you a bonus question, tiny bonus question to correct the English. Anyway, and notice here, what's I knowed mighty well. What's mighty well? Rewrite in good English. I knowed mighty well.
I might know well.
I might know well. Mighty well. What's mighty here? Yeah? This is your bonus question. Come on. Yeah?
Like it's
Maybe
power.
he's talking about what he is capable of.
Instead of mighty, what word can you use?
Great.
Good?
Or
Power.
powerful, doctor.
Well, how can you say good and then well, good? You know, well means good.
Pretty good.
Very well.
Yeah, Athir, very good. Athir, very good, Athir. Yes, absolutely. She said extremely well. Yes, absolutely. Means very well. Again, Kauthar said certain. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, certainly, extremely, very, really, very. Mighty means very, very, just that. So really here you see the funny English that he's saying here. Notice, a drowned man don't float on his back. So I know then that this weren't pap, but a woman dressed up in a man's clothes. Well, what's this? So I was uncomfortable again. I judged the old man would turn up again by and by, though I wished he wouldn't. So again, I think, you know, I'm saying here really, Huck is very funny. It's very ridiculous to say all this. Maybe you could say no. I mean, maybe this is not funny because maybe this is terrible. Yes, because Huck is always treated badly by his father. So he's saying here what he really thinks because he's a boy and he's always been treated badly by his father. So if he said all this thing about against his father, maybe we understand that. Anyway, so here he goes back to tell us about the question of robbers. We played robber now, and then about a month, and then I resigned. Look at the verb. He said, I resigned. Resign? What? Resign from a job? You resign from a bank manager, or you resign being a professor, or being an engineer? Resign from what?
Being a son of his.
No. Robber. Notice we played robber now, and then about a month I resigned from being a robber. يعني حرامي. لا إله إلا الله. Do you understand? It's very funny. He's saying, even the word resign can't be said. Yani, as we say, he's a real terrible thief. He's a terrible robber. But he said, okay, I will resign from this job, the job of stealing people and robbing and killing people. I mean, even the verb here is really very funny and very ridiculous to use the verb resign. Because normally you resign in a decent manner, in an official manner, in a great position, a good job, not a robber.
With no regret, doctor.
Sorry?
With no regret.
Yeah, of course. And you know, he's really laughing and ridiculing the whole idea. Of course, I'm saying Mark Twain is indirectly, you know, ridiculing this. And when he said all the boys did, we hadn't robbed nobody, hadn't killed any people, but only just pretended. We used to hop out of the woods and go charging down the hog drivers and women in carts, taking garden stuff to market, but we never hived any of them. What's this? Hived? We never hived any of them. Really, here again we see really very funny and ridiculous language he's using here against himself and against the whole thing, or the whole idea of being robbers. Really, Mark Twain here is using very funny language and very funny situation, of course, through the hands of his young boy narrator Huck, to say, well, look at this, you know, this is childish. Again, this reminds me, as I told you, by Golding, really, Lord of the Flies. I think in the same way, something like that, similar in a way. So he said we pretended to do this, and we pretended to steal and rob people, and we pretend to take properties and to sell them, but we never did anything. So what are you talking about here then? What is this? You know, is really here the whole thing is just as I said, it seems the whole thing was like a mock robbery and a mock, if you like, gang. It was not a gang, it was not robbery, a real thing. It was just mocking to pretend that they are. It's like, you know, like childish, game, really. Are we here following a sort of, gaming? And I think this is the whole idea he said here about that, and the way he talks about all this, the dragon and the Arabs, because here he mentioned, again, notice here, in his sentence here, blazing stick, which he called a slogan, which was the sign of the gang to get together. And then he said he had got secret news by his spies that next day a whole parcel of Spanish merchants and rich Arabs. Look at this, the way he writes this. And by the way, Mark Twain really, well, I like Mark Twain for mainly one thing. Well, maybe because this is something I shouldn't say, but he wrote, and he came to Syria when he was young in a journey. He came to the whole of the Middle East, and he visited Syria and Damascus, and he wrote a huge text on Damascus. And I think I said this to you here in the introduction. Let me see. I think I said that. I don't know if I read this to you. Did I? Yeah. I said. Notice here. I said I like Mark Twain as a novelist. You know, this is my note. I like Mark Twain as a novelist, short story writer, humorist, and particularly as a travel writer, for what he had said about Syria and Damascus in his book, The Innocents Abroad. And he wrote here, notice this is a quotation from him, and he wrote here about Damascus. As you can see here, the whole passage, and it's taken from his book called The Innocent, Mark Twain, The Innocents Abroad, or The New Pilgrims Progress. Wow, Pilgrims Progress. You know, this is again going back to as if he was himself as a pilgrim. Pilgrim coming to where? To Jerusalem, maybe. As you know, if you like, we know all those crusades in the old days. Of course, I mean this is very clear, because people in those days, they used to come to Jerusalem as the birthplace of Jesus Christ, and so on. So Mark Twain really in real life. Notice Damascus. And I think he said that. Notice, Damascus has seen all that has ever occurred on earth, and still she lives. She has looked, you notice here using the word she for Damascus. She has looked upon the dry bones of 1,000 empires. And look what he said, dry bones of 1,000 empires. And we'll see the bones, the tombs of 1,000 more before she dies. Though another claims the name, old Damascus is by right the eternal city. Wow. You know, that's Mark Twain. And this is a real book. It's a travel book. It's not fiction. So what I'm saying really here, he is a very sort of really effective man, giving a lot of I think messages everywhere, if not in his fiction, but of course also in his you know, in his travel. Where are we? Yeah, I'm still here. Where? Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back to where I was. Chapter 3. Yeah. Yeah. Again here, why do you think he is using the word Arabs and then Arabs? Do you think he repeats it 3 times here? Notice here, said Arabs. Let me highlight it for you. And again here he said Arabs. Huh? And again here he used the same thing, Arabs.
At the beginning of the novel, we said that he used different dialects, and I think he's one of the dialects they call Arabs. This is how they pronounce Arabs, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. And not only that, but I think he's mocking the way this is pronounced or said. And I think I've heard that many. And I think sometimes they do it. I've heard it, by the way. I've heard it by people saying it like that. And I'm sure they know how to say Arabs. You know, like as we say it, Arab. You know the word Arab. We are Arabs, Arab, right? But I think they say it like this. Especially Americans, they say it like that. I think, in mockery, really in mockery, and in racist, if you like, stigmatization or racist elements about it. Again, he uses, especially when here he mentions about the whole question of the Oriental implications and meanings, especially when he talks here about Don Quixote here. Notice about Don Quixote, about the Spanish writer Cervantes, and I think he, I don't know if he mentions the name. I'm not sure, but yeah, he mentions here the book called Don Quixote. Again, it's, as we said in Arabic, Don Quixote or Don Quixote, and this Don Quixote, or as in Spanish, Don, as you can see, Don Quixote in Spanish. Really, it's this huge novel by Cervantes, you know, Miguel Cervantes, who talks about this adventurous book about the big, massive, if you like, hero, a big hero, a knight who went fighting evil against, if you like, against all the trouble and all the difficulties, or against, you know, the whole idea of evil, symbolized or the struggle or the fighting between good and evil. And Don Quixote is this example here. You know, he's referring to talk about, again, in the same way, to refer to the Oriental adventurous, attractive, adventurous background of the Arabs, for example. So that's why he said, he used the word enchantment. Look at the word enchantment. This romantic Orientalist idea to look back at the Orient, and as Edward Said, I think the great, you know, American, well, I should say really Palestinian-American professor, Palestinian-American professor Edward Said, who wrote a great book. I think he wrote great books, really. Unfortunately, well, sadly, he died recently. Well, more than I think more than 15 or 16 years now he's dead. Edward Said, he wrote a lot about but his best book called Orientalism, Al-Istishraq, and I think it was translated. I think this book was translated, or I should say, maybe to hundreds of languages, I'm sure, because it's such a great book, written in English, 1976, 1970, I think 1978 or 76. I'm not sure, I must check. 1978, you know, Orientalism is such a great book by Edward Said, and he talks about how, you know, Westerners look towards the East, how they feel that the East is full of exotic, attractive, absolutely tempting, lovely things, and that's why, you know, all Orientalists, if you like, all those who are interested in the Orient, they come because they want to satisfy their, if you like, enchantments. And I think this is what he wants to say here. Again, about that. Notice, he said there was hundreds, again, look at this English here, was hundreds, you know, was singular, hundreds, plural, of soldiers there, the elephants and treasure, and so on. But we had enemies which he called magicians. And, you know, he goes on and on about that, this question of magician, and the idea, I think it's to do with the, again, the same question of belief in witchcraft and all this. Now, you can see, again, you know, the development of the story really in a very funny way, a very ridiculous way. If you follow exactly what Huck is telling us, you know, Huck is saying all this with a little bit of conversation with him and the other boys, or especially with Tom, is quite really interesting. Well, again, here in chapter 4, he goes on to tell us how he spent the rest of his, before his father came and, kidnapped him. Notice here, well, 3 or 4 months run along, and it was well into the winter now. I had been to school most of the time and could spell and read and write just a little, and could say the multiplication table up to 6 times 7, up to 6 times 7 is 35. What? Six times 7 is 35? Do you know the multiplication table?
Yes, we do.
And is 6 times 7 is 35?
No, it's 42.
No, it's 42.
So what's this? Isn't it? Yeah. So he said, I know I could say the multiplication table up to 6 times 7 is 35. And I couldn't reckon I could ever get any further than that if I was to live forever. I don't take no stock in mathematics anyway. So he said, I know the multiplication table, and the example is this, and this example is wrong. So it means he doesn't know anything. So really, again, this is really funny and ridiculous how really Mark Twain is laughing and mocking him. At first, I hated the school, but by and by, I got so I could stand it. Whenever I got uncommon tired, I played hockey, and the hiding I got next day done me good and cheered me up. So the longer I went to school, the easier it got to be. I was getting sort of used to the widow's ways too, and they weren't so rapsy on me. Living in a house and sleeping in a bed pulled on me pretty tight mostly. But before the cold weather, I used to slip out and sleep in the woods sometimes. And so that was a rest to me. A rest? Rest from what? Can you believe this? Somebody running away from a cozy, lovely, clean, fresh bed, and to go to the forest and sleep in the forest, and he say, in the forest, it's better than the bed? I said, so that was a rest to me? I like the old ways best, but I was getting so I like the new ones too a little bit. The widow said I was coming along slow but sure and doing very satisfactory. She said she weren't ashamed of me. What kind of boy is this? Was he a Mowgli boy? Do you know Mowgli?
Yes.
Yeah. What's wrong with him? Yeah, of course. Really here, Mark Twain is mocking the boy really well, as if to say, well, naturally, this boy is a wild boy, and he will never be a boy, or he will never be, naturally, if you like. Again, of course, he's exaggerating and he's mocking. naturally tamed and clean and decent and educated and good, social and so on man. He, maybe we can say, well, you know, like father, like son. Like father, like son. You know, his father like that, he was like that in a way, and he spent his life running away, being a thief and being a drunkard and being always running away from the law, and then he died there, and we say, well, you know, maybe like father, like son. And again here, I remind you, and I want you to go back to my friend Rip Van Winkle. Rip Van Winkle, again, it's the same thing, really.
Doctor,
Yeah?
I think the writer has the idea of romanticism concept of belonging to nature. And also, I think he's trying to say that this is a child, regarding of his situation and hardship he's been through, he trying to find a way out or salvation. And this is where he finds it in nature, I guess.
Yeah, very good, ya Ghaida. Yes, I like that. Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course, the novel really has a lot of meanings and a lot of implications. And I think this is a lovely explanation. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and remember, this is a boy, you know, this is a boy of 13. A boy of 13 and 14, you know, with his own childish behavior and manners. And maybe later on when he grows up, of course, maybe he will change. Yeah, of course. And considering, of course, considering the hard circumstances under which he was brought up. Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. So again, you can see really the way he was telling us here about his behavior and how now he wanted to tell us more about, you know, you know, the whole concept of trying to develop, for example, his personality, and now he's coming back to the idea that he wants to started to think that his father maybe is still alive, and he's now going to tell us a little bit about his story with his money. And because remember at the beginning he said that we have about you know, some money he wants to hide it from his father, because his father is going to, when he comes back, if he ever comes back, he will take his money. So that's why here he tells us in details in this section here to tell us how he went to hide his money in the bank, if you like, of there is like a bank manager or something here. And notice here he said this: I was up in a second and shining down the hill. I looked over my shoulder every now and then, but I didn't see nobody. I was at Judge Thatcher's as quick as I could get there. He said, why, my boy, you are all out of breath. Did you come for your interest? No, sir, I says. Is there some for me? Again, you know, you can see the funny English when he says, I says. You know, we don't say I says, you know, he says, she says, you know, we say I said or I say. Well, it should be I said, not I says, you know, because he's repeating in the past. You should say I said. But anyway, oh yes, a half yearly is in at last night, over $150, quite a fortune for you. You had better let me invest it along with your 6,000, because if you take it, you will spend it. So now we learn that this man is the bank manager or a banker. He keeps his money, or he keeps Huckleberry's money, because as I said, he kept it there because his father will take it from him if he was able to. So that's why here, he is talking now he's telling us a little bit of this information about his money. No, sir, I says, I don't want to spend it. I don't want it at all. Not the 6,000 neither. He said neither. Neither means neither. I want you to take it. I want to give it to you. The 6,000 and all. He looked surprised. He couldn't seem to make it out. He says, why? What can you mean, my boy? I says, don't you ask me no questions about it, please? You will take it, won't you? He says, well, I'm puzzled. Is something the matter? Please take it, says I. And don't ask me nothing. Then I won't have to tell you no lies. He studied a while and then he says, oh, I think I see. You want to sell all your property to me, not give it. That's the correct idea. Then he wrote something on a paper and read it over and says, there you see, it says, for a consideration. That means I have bought it for you that means I have bought it off you and paid you for it. Here is $1 for you. Now you sign it. So I signed it and left. So, later on we shall see, and he says that. Why he did this? Why? Because, as you know, and we shall see, of course, he's worried that his father will come to the bank and will get it. Because the boy is young and his father is his father, and no bank will be able to stop a father from taking his boy's money, especially when the son is below 16 or below 18 years old. So the bank could not stop him. So that's why the boy knew this. So he gave the manager all the money and he wrote it, this is your money, it's not my money. And now his father could never ever take it because it's not in the boy's name anymore. So that's why he signed a paper for him, where he signed that he gave him all the money. You see? So again, this is a twist, and this is a funny twist, if we believe it. Why all this? Again, we shall see later on, he told us immediately that's what happened. Jim put a quarter under the hairball. Again, here, notice another funny thing about, again, about Jim, his friend, and his, if you like, Tom Sawyer, and the adventures and the funny attitudes that they take against him. Notice here how they notice this time he said the hairball was all right. He said it would tell my whole fortune if I wanted it. If I wanted to, I says, go on. So the hairball talked to Jim, and Jim told it to me. He says, what is this? What's this? What hairball? What, talking to a hairball? What's that? Again, really, they are mocking here again. It's I think the same thing again, like Lord of the Flies. Again, I must say that Lord of the Flies was written after this one. Maybe William Golding has taken, I don't know, but it could be. I'm not sure. William Golding is an English novelist, but not American. But I'm sure William Golding must have read Mark Twain. Definitely, he read Mark Twain. I did not check it, but I'm sure he did, because he was such a great novelist. So here, talking to a ball, here, so as if, as if, again here, the use of magic. We're talking about magic. You talk to a ball. How do you talk to an object, and the object will respond to you and will talk to you? You say, come on, what's this? And here it seems that Jim is telling him his fortune, as if to say, yeah, well, again, like when you read I think also I told you about the fortune teller, about the fortune tellers who read the palm or the palms, or who read in the cup. This is my coffee here. When they turn the coffee, and then you say, yeah, there are, yeah, you'll get something, and this is, I said, come on. And I know people who do, I know people who do that and really who believe it. And this is here, Jim is laughing and mocking, and Mark Twain is mocking everybody, saying that these boys, they read magic, or they use magic, and they tell him that his father is going to come and maybe, maybe kill him or something. Notice. Your old father don't know it. Look at this. This is the funny, I think the funny, absolutely funny English that Jim is speaking. Your old father don't know yet what he had, going to do, is going to do. Sometimes he expect he will go away, and then again he expect he'll stay. Done best way is to rest. Then the best way, then best means then, or the best way is to rest easy, and let the old man his own way. As if to say, here Jim is speaking and telling Huck about his father, as if to say, he's telling him, yeah, your father is going to come and maybe do something for, to you, or in a way. Notice. Oh, he said, there is two angels, he says, there are what he said, there is two angels hovering around about him. One of them is a white and shiny, and the other one is black. The white one gets him to go right a little while. Then the black one said, or sail, or in the opposite, and burst all up, going to destroy all up. Sometimes you get headache. You say, come on, what's this? I can't read that. Again, he said, a body cannot tell yet which one going to fetch him all the days, or the last, or or at the last, But you is all right. you is all right. You going to have considerable trouble in your life and considerable joy. Sometimes you're going to get hurt, and sometimes you're going to get sick. But every time you're going to get well again. There is two girls flying. Girls again. You see here, there are two girls flying about you in your life. Two girls? Well, he's going to marry two girls? Let's see. One of them is light and the other one is dark. One is rich and the other one is poor. You are going to marry one of them. You are going to marry the poor one first, then rich one, then buy. What a funny fortune telling. So the ball, Jim is holding the ball and telling Huck this what the bull what the bull is saying. And again, really, this is very funny. If you like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Again and again and again, it's like, as I said, really boyish and babyish, sort of narrative. When I lit my candle and went up to my room, that night there sat Bab his own self. So, as if to say that the whole thing was like in a dream, and then he went up to his room, and there his father was there. He found him. And really, in chapter here, you can see, I will read only just, he suddenly found his father. His father was there. I had shut the door, so then I turned round, and there he was. I used to be scared of him all the time, and he tanned me so much. What? Tanned? Tanned me so much? I reckoned I was scared now too, but a minute I see I was mistaken. That is, after the first jolt, as you may say, when my breath sort of hitched, he began so unexpected, but right away after I see I weren't scared of him worth bothering about. He tanned me. Tan? What's tan? Normally we say we get suntan. You get suntan or bronzage, as we say in French or in Arabic. I don't know. In Arabic, they say bronzage, which is French, really. It's not Arabic. When you expose yourself to the sun, like in, European people or white people, generally white people, or people who do not really have a lot of sun. They sometimes, when they have sunshine, they just, lie on the beach or somewhere and they get suntan. And we say suntan. But here it said, he tanned me so much. Means he hit me a lot, and my body and my skin get darkened or got blue marks because of the hitting, of the beating, of the whipping. So here we have a father who whipped his son, who would whip his son, for hours. What a father. What a father. He was most 50, and he looked it. And notice here the description. I'll read this, and that's it for today. Notice the narrator and Mark Twain and Huck describing his father. It's really very interesting. His hair was long and tangled and greasy and hung down, and you could see his eyes shining through like he was behind vines. As if, here we say behind vines means, his eyes were shining as if he was always drunk. When you drink a lot, your eyes, he said, will be shining. As if to say his eyes are shining as if he was always drunk. It was all black, no gray. So was his long mixed up whiskers. Whiskers, these are your whiskers here. You grow whiskers like that. Men sometimes, well, I don't have them here. I don't like them. Many men have, these whiskers like that, which is funny. Sometimes people do it. There weren't no color in his face. Where his face showed, it was white, not like another man's white, but a white to make a body sick. A body sick? A white to make a body's flesh, drawl or crawl, sorry. A three-toed white, a fish belly white. غيدا
Yes, doctor.
What is this? Would you describe anybody you love your father or mother like that? A toad, a tree-toad white, a fish belly white, you make your flesh crawl? What kind of, huh? This is funny, this is ridiculous, this is ugly, very ugly. What kind of whiteness here? Really ugly. As for his clothes, just rags. That was all. Rags. He had no ankle resting on another knee. Sorry, he had one ankle resting on the other knee. The boot on that foot was busted, and two of his toes stuck through, and he worked them now and then. What's this? His hat was laying on the floor, an old black slouch with the top caved in like a lid. Really very interesting description, absolutely graphic and lovely, you know, maybe correct, but it shows how much really the narrator really, how much the writer really enjoys.
And tragic too.
Yeah, absolutely. And mocking, laughing, and saying, come on, what kind of, you know, maybe tragic, yes, maybe miserable, yes, but he's saying, it is his own making, isn't it? It is his own making. It's his own way, and he could have been better if he chose. It's his own choice. The father's own terrible, horrible choice is a terrible, yeah?
I mean, it's tragic for the child, for the boy, not for the father.
Yeah, exactly. And really, the funny thing, as I told you before, really like father, like son, because his son also, in the same way, he likes to be like that. Both of them like to be like this. It's exactly like Rip Van Winkle. It is Rip Van Winkle syndrome. Rip Van Winkle syndrome, the same disease, the same symptoms, really. It's amazing, really. It's very funny. I will stop here and I will continue next time, boys and girls. I think that's enough, and I will see you next week, inshallah. Have a nice weekend, and I will stop recording. If you have